Welcome to Breathe In, Scream Out, a podcast for feeling it all, one breath and scream at a time. I'm Healy, your guide through this sacred mess called life. Here we'll feel everything. We'll cry, we'll laugh, we'll scream, and maybe scream again. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Breathe In, Scream Out. I'm your host, Healy, and as always, I am so excited to have you tuning in and really excited to share this solo episode with you. It is all things Sagittarius season. And if you know me or you don't know me, you probably know I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius sun, I'm a Sagittarius Mercury, and I'm also a Gemini rising, which is Sag's sister sign, sibling sign. So I'm really excited to share with you how I'm interpreting this energy of this new and full moon, the full moon in Gemini, the new moon in Sag. It is our last set of moons, new and full, for the year 2025. And also just to share with you how I interpret this energy, because that's what astrology really is. It's not a prescription, it's a description. And each person, astrologer, novice, advanced practitioner, people that just love astrology and speak the language and want to learn more, have their own way of embodying, interpreting this energy. But before we do any of that, getting into what I'm screaming about this season. And this season, I am screaming about the fact that everyone wants a village and very few people want to actually be a villager. What does that mean? People want community, and now more than ever, we're talking about the importance of community on mental, physical, emotional health. And then we don't want to actually show up for the community part when it requires us to be the support system, the community members. And I think this has been a long time coming. I think I've been incredibly lucky to have and continue to be a part of some really amazing, fantastic communities, spaces, groups of people. I love to collaborate. I love to be a part of a community. I will always choose collaboration over solo, honestly. I've shared this before, so maybe I'm a broken record here, but I think being part of community or being part of any relationship, friendship, romantic, platonic, familial, requires reciprocity in my book. That's the foundation of a good relationship, partnership, dynamic, group dynamic. It requires the willingness to give as much as you receive. Someone I had on the pod, one of my best friends, my family, my brother, Eden, a few episodes ago, he may have even shared this in the episode, but if you want to be selfish, you have to be selfless. And so many of us don't want to do the selfless part. We don't want the inconvenience of getting off the couch, of leaving the house. I get it, especially in the winter. And maybe this touches a very specific part of me as someone with the winter birthday right around Christmas. I feel for my January babies too, when everyone's dry Januarying on their saving money, all their resolutions, right, that they save for the start of the year. We forget to or don't show up. And now, before you come for me, obviously, there is the balance of taking care of yourself, of knowing when to say no, of having to cancel plans sometimes that you don't want to cancel. But I think what I'm really getting at, even more granular, we don't even have the conversation anymore. This idea that we feel like we don't owe anybody anything. And in certain aspects, that's true. But again, life is so much more nuanced than we want to admit it to be. We want it to be just simple, cut and dry, black and white. And we want to either be in that lone wolf mentality, we don't need anyone or anything, or we are overly dependent on others, but just finding the balance of being the villager, of being the support system, and then in return allowing yourself to be supported, right? Maybe you do one better than the other, but I find there's this sense of, again, this I don't owe anybody anything. that I want to be part of community, but I don't want to be in the inconvenience of what it costs to be a friend, a partner, a lover, a daughter, a mother, a son, a father. Well, mothers, let me put that aside because the superheroes of the world. And even in my really difficult, challenging relationship, in the moments that I've had with my own mother, I will never deny the way she shows up and what she does. But again, this idea of reciprocity and giving as much as we receive, and maybe you overgive. So you need to work on the receiving part too, of allowing that support of that community. I am going through my own deep excavation of that idea myself, of knowing that I can ask for help. Not even because I'm stubborn or want to do it myself, because it wasn't always instilled in me as an option to ask for help. I grew up in a family system that really wanted me to figure it out on my own, that parents that prided themselves on, and continue to, my mom, that we will always figure it out. And that is an incredible gift, skill to instill, but maybe we overcorrected a little bit, in my case, in my family. So I'm screaming about all the people that live in this space continuously of, I don't know anybody, anything. I don't need anyone. I don't need anything. I don't need your help, right? With that little sass that I inflect there. Maybe it's familiar to me. And trusting that sometimes being part of community is going to feel inconvenient. And it's going to feel like showing up maybe in the moment when you don't feel like it, but afterwards knowing that you showed up and feeling fulfilled by the way you showed up for a friend, a partner, a family member. I had to do it recently with Eden at his film festival. I was like, I can come for this, but I can't stay for the after party. I could do this, but I can't do that. And of course, after a long day of this training I'm in and all the things that I was doing, I wanted to sit home on the couch. But nothing replaced the feeling at the end of the day of showing up for him, of seeing the film, of all his hard work, of giving to him as much as he gives to me. So, if you want to be selfish, you need to be selfless. Be okay with the inconvenience of being a villager, of showing up sometimes when you feel like staying at home. And also finding the balance of maybe canceling in that moment, but showing up another day, of making it up to that person, of remembering that we actually do owe each other a lot. This is it. This is all we got. So if you're feeling that, or maybe what I said pissed you off, we're going to scream. We're going to do it together. We scream, we sigh, we let out some sound just to take up some space in our bodies, take up some space with our voice, and remember that of all the healing frequency, sounds, vibrations, the sound of our own voice is the most healing frequency and vibration for our own body. So close your eyes, or if you're walking, just feel the presence of your body, your feet beneath you, your legs supporting you, finding a comfortable seat, a private space if you can. And just allowing yourself to start to ground, to arrive. Just breathing as you normally would, in and out through your nose, in through your nose, out through your mouth, whatever feels most natural to you. And we'll take a few deep breaths together. I'll guide us through, but feel free to take all the time you need. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Another big inhale through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. This time on our exhale, we'll let out some sound into our hands, out into our space, maybe just even a hum or a big sigh, wherever you are, whatever allows you to release. Take your biggest inhale yet, hold it at the top. Some sound out on the exhale. Just let sensation, sound just start to melt away. Gently come back to your breath. And come back to you. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Start to flutter your eyes back open. And welcome back in. Sagittarius season. You know, I had to eat my words a bit in Scorpio season. I said how much I love Scorpio season, and every November in particular, I am transformed. Death, birth, transformation. It's my dad's anniversary. It's representative of so many endings for me, or when life feels like it massively changed 8 years ago. His anniversary is November 20th. And this one in particular, maybe put my money where my mouth was with my love for that Scorpio energy. It really, she tested me. Like every water season brings me down into the depths of my own despair. And this one was no joke in ways I was prepared for and so unprepared for. And I'm still very much sifting through that energy, but feeling different and new and transformed. Never fully formed, constantly in this space of transformation. And yeah, there's this school of thought also that each sign carries the energy of the sign before it. And if Scorpio season takes us down into the depths of all the inner work, the internal, picking apart the patterns, the beliefs, the thoughts, like having everything crumble away that needs to crumble. Thoughts, feelings, relationships, people quickly exiting and entering your life with all the retrogrades we also have. If Scorpio is all that internal work, the idea is that Sagittarius then takes that work and starts to live again and starts to live out loud. As someone with Scorpio and Sagittarius prominent placements, I think that's where maybe even more of my intensity and willingness to go down deep and then live out loud comes from. And Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's also mutable. Gemini is an air sign, part of that pact of mutable signs. Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces. Sag and Gemini are the pair. Virgo and Pisces are the pair. That mutable, changeable, adaptable, a little chaotic energy. And this year, Sagittarius season, you know, the dates are generally November 21st to December 21st. We have the full moon first in Gemini, which is on Thursday, December 4th. So tomorrow, whenever you're listening to this episode, if you're listening on the day it comes out, Wednesday, that it's tomorrow, or whenever you're listening, December 4th, 5:15 Eastern Standard Time, PM. It's our last full moon of the year. And our new moon in Sag will be December 19th at 8:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So depending on what time zone you're in, that's where you'll be feeling it. And like I shared, these are the last moons of the year. It's our last full moon, our last new moon. So it carries the regular energy of Sag and Gemini, but also even more so focusing on evaluating, sitting in, sifting through the year and our beginnings and our endings. And Sagittarius, Sagittarius is fire. Sagittarius is the teacher, the philosopher, the expander. The planet that rules Sagittarius is Jupiter. So Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It's about abundance, expansion, growth. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Gemini is the student. If Sag is the teacher, it's opposite. Gemini is the student. It is curious. It is analytically focused. It is quick. It is witty. Some of the most witty people I know. Shout out to my bestie, Abby Meacham, Gemini. It is adaptable. It is malleable. Also a little chaotic. Air energy, fire energy. You know, air and fire. Air feeds fire. They feed each other. So thinking about that pair together. And as we're in Sagittarius season, I always playing the smallest violin in the world for myself and all the other Sages out there. But, you know, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we can't catch a break. We are being overshadowed. And I don't want to speak for all Sages out there, but if you even think about combining my birthday and my Christmas gift, we have a problem. Unless you're taking me on some 3-week, $10,000, maybe even more, I don't care how much it is, some 3-week excursion between my birthday and Christmas, they're not interchangeable, okay? They're not. So anyone I've dated that has tried to pull a fast one on me, you already know. And anyone I've dated who hasn't been able to stick around for my birthday, you're lost. You snooze, you lose. Okay? So we get the short end of the stick. People try to, we're overshadowed by these holidays, which, if I'm being honest, I'm a bit of a Grinch. I can't fucking stand them. I can't. I'm not a Christmas girl. Sorry. You can come for me in the comments. I don't know. It's just not for me. Probably because my birthday. I don't know what to tell you. No, but it's not just my birthday. It's all the Sag energy in the world. When I think of Sages, I think of Ozzy Osbourne. We have shockingly similar birth charts. And even before I really understood astrology, I would watch the Osbournes in high school and I would think, that's exactly how I feel on the inside. Ozzy Osbourne is how I feel internally. So that explains a lot. Tina Turner, Jimi Hendrix, Christina Aguilera, Miss Britney Spears, Taylor Swift, Jay-Z. The list goes on and on and on. Okay? So just some context, some pop culture context there for you of this Sag fire energy. And all that aside, when you think about Sag, there's themes of expansion, trust and faith in the universe, understanding our worthiness, that adaptability, that abundance. And Sagittarius really wants to remind us that there are no negative experience. It's no good or bad, right or wrong. All of the things that come our way, as one of my Reiki teachers, Carrie, who I had on earlier in the pod, she always likes to say, everything is perfect for our learning. And that really used to piss me off. And sometimes it still does. But Sagittarius really understands that every detour, every unexpected challenge, hiccup, bump in the road is actually taking us exactly where we need to be. It's the eternal optimist. And if you're saying to yourself, Katie, you could be pretty pessimistic, I am absolutely going to blame my 8th house Capricorn stellium on that. So, yes, I'm a Sagittarius and I have an answer for everything. And that is my answer. Because there is a part of me that really believes anything is possible when I want something. And everyone I know with Sag placements, I feel the fear and I do it anyway. I don't focus on so much anymore how it's going to happen. I try to focus on all the steps I can take just to get closer to that thing. And even in my human design, I'm a non-specific manifester. So when I want something, I don't need to know every exact step I'm going to take to get the thing. I just need to make the steps towards it. And that's Sag energy, that bigger picture, that outer vision, that knowing what we want and then taking the moves that will make us closer, take us closer to it, following the signs, taking the leap of faith, trusting in the teachers and finding the meaning along the way. I always say, there is no such thing as coincidences or coincidence. I do not believe that. I take everything as a sign, maybe in an annoying way, maybe in a delusional girly way. I don't know, but everything to me has meaning. And the Sagittarius is the center. It is half man, half beast, and it is the only sign with a weapon. Just remember that. And that weapon is usually our mouths. If you know, you know. And if you've been a victim to my mouth and what comes out of it and the blunt honesty, you may be entitled to compensation. But we could talk about that a different time. No, but all jokes aside, Sagittarius is the reminder of that arrow. Exactly where we aim it, that is where we can and will fly with the intention. And a quote I love that I think embodies this Sag and Gemini energy is from this artist, musician, oracle deck creator, Kim Cranes. She has a deck, the Alchemist deck. And alchemy is transformation, taking one thing and turning it into another in its simplest form. And she says in this deck, in this book for the deck, those who say they know don't. Those who say they don't know, know. And I think that embodies the highest vibration of Gemini and Sag energy, the constant desire to learn, change, grow, understand. And Gemini is the same, this constant desire for knowledge, growth, expansion, communication. Hello, I'm a Gemini rising. I have a podcast. I am constantly talking, sharing. I will absolutely blame all of those room for improvement marks on my report card in the talkative part on these placements. And not just blame, right? Because we want to use astrology for the greater good, but understand that my mind, it's taken me a really long time in my life to understand how active my mind is, how chattery my mind is, how analytical I actually am. Because for a long time in my life, I focused on just the leading with the fire, the no thinking, just doing, just action, which I could bring a little bit some of that back, right? Grief created a lot of different anxiety for me of overthinking. And I really, too much to the point of it was too much, and sometimes still do the overthinking and not sharing. And that's when I'm out of my power, when I'm out of myself. And Gemini is air. Gemini wants to think, know, understand, pick apart, analyze, create a story, a narrative, right? So this full moon in Gemini, if we think about full moons as times to release and Gemini and new moons as time to create, bring in, but we're dealing with this final new moon and full moon of the year. We're going to be looking at all the stories that we have created, the narratives that we've created for ourselves in 2025 and in the past, and all of the things we're trying to create in the future for 2026. If Sag is the expander, if Sag is the outer vision, the seeing the bigger picture, Gemini is that minutia, that attention to detail, all the little details. And if you've heard me tell a story, we're going 7 different directions at one time, and I can wholeheartedly admit that about myself. When I'm even talking with an air sign, we're actually talking about 3 to 4 things at any given time, right? So I can appreciate the part of us that wants to really get into the story, the narrative, and how that serves us and how that gets in our way. So this full moon in particular illuminates where we've been, where we're heading. It's asking us to release the outdated stories, release the outdated narratives about I'm not enough, I can't, this isn't possible for me because Sag is the opposite of that. Sag is this is possible for me because I have the vision, I have the desire. So what is the opposite of that? All the ways we're playing small, all the ways we're telling ourselves we can't. This full moon wants us to really write that shit down. Talk it out, voice note it to yourself, tap into it, journal, whatever way helps get your juices flowing, your creativity flowing, that part of you that can allow yourself to unpack these stories that you're holding on to, that I'm holding on to too, that no longer serve us, right? A big one for me, like I shared right now, is I can't ask for help. It's not available to me. I'm annoying. I'm needy. I'm too much. Whew. Ay. Really show up in every part of my life, some places I wasn't even aware, but especially for me in romantic partnership. What am I releasing? What am I finally ready to let go of? That releases these stories that are not serving me in any way. If anything, they're holding me back. If anything, they're creating a narrative for other people that I don't actually want to be projecting into the world. And in this final full moon in Gemini, final full moon of 2025, going even deeper than that, looking at this past year, looking at your life the last few years, especially with Saturn being in Pisces, a mutable sign, the last 2 to 3 years, what beliefs have you been carrying around that just no longer reflect not just who you are, but who you're trying to become? That future outer vision of Sag, that seer, that visionary part of us that sees the bigger picture. What stories can we finally release? How do we practice radical honesty with ourselves? Not always fun, not always nice, doesn't always feel good, you know? Just like that part of us that doesn't always want to show up for other people, but wants all the benefits of the way we feel when people show up for us. It asks us to look really clearly at these spaces between what we're stuck in, the narrative that we tell ourselves. A lot of times it's shit that we don't even believe, that have been projected onto us, that we've just prescribed to because it's what we've been told about ourselves. It's what we've been told about society. It's what we've been made to believe. Whatever your gender, race, nationality, the community and structure you grew up in. This full moon wants us to release it all so we can embrace that courageous Sagittarius. And if it doesn't feel courageous to you, almost like wild, rebellious, carefree energy, free spirit energy of feeling the fear, saying fuck it, and doing it anyway. So not only what stories are we able to let go of, are we ready to let go of, but what is the vision we have for this upcoming year? What do we really want to embrace? What do we really want to call in? And when I think of this Sag Gemini energy and something that really started to help me understand myself better, since I embody this axis in a lot of ways here, is a book, The Alchemist. I read it in high school. I love it. If you're rolling your eyes, okay. I love it. And it's all these deep, universal Sag energy truths, this Gemini energy. What's possible? What story are we writing? Our fate, taking our fate and our lives into our own hands, trusting the signs and the visions and that desire in our heart and making it into something real. And some of the quotes I love from that book, from The Alchemist: and when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. Also, don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. And even though all that Gemini energy helps us get granular in terms of communication and knowledge, and Sag does the same in its own ways of being the teacher, of sharing, of curiosity in the realms of religion and devotion, and just a granular and expansive understanding of knowledge itself, really what this energy is doing is taking in all the information and then making the heart-informed decision, the deep desire decision. You know, who would you be if you allowed yourself to follow your deepest desire? What would you dare to dream if you weren't worried about what other people were going to say? Or how it wouldn't work out. Think about how many times you haven't done shit in your life because you were afraid it wouldn't work out. And then the times you took the leap anyway, and maybe it didn't work out how you thought it would, which is another contender of this energy, but it worked out even better than you imagined. It took you exactly where you needed to be, or exactly where you need to be. And as we move into the Sagittarius new moon energy and talking about the high and low vibration of this Sag energy, it's really just a full circle moment with this full moon of where have you been overthinking, thinking yourself in circles, using a little bit too much of the analysis that it's sending you into paralysis. Analysis paralysis is real. And also inviting in the Sag shadow side of like letting go of any need to be correct or do it right or have every answer. Because we've talked a lot about the high vibration of Sag, the high vibration of Gemini, Sag being open-minded, willing to absorb, adaptable, trusting that every experience, the beautiful ones, the painful ones, are leading you more to a path of alignment and truth. Of Gemini, that source of knowledge, expansion, incredible communicator, gifted in the realm of being able to digest information and share it in a really clear, informative way, in my opinion. I don't always make sense in the beginning, but I get to it. We get there. And the house of communication is what Gemini traditionally rules, the house of knowledge and truth, the ninth house. So it's a lot of this mind. It's a lot of this expansion of the mind, of new information, of having your mind open to what's possible. But the shadow sides, like everything, and I know these very well, and I'm sure some of y'all see it in me. And I see it in myself, I promise. But the shadow side of Sag, of being closed-minded, of being dogmatic, of needing to have the answer, of almost like I do that as a protection mechanism. I always want to have the answer for people. It took me a long time and still takes me a lot to be like, I don't know, but I'm willing to look it up, or I'm willing to figure it out with you or by myself and get back to you. It's hard for me to say I don't know a lot of the time. And to trust. I think I still am working on that Sag muscle so much, the trust, the faith, the knowing that it is all going to work out, of not waiting for the other shoe to drop. And the lower vibration of Gemini is the overthinking, the obsessing so deeply in the minutia that you lose sight of the bigger picture, of being manipulative, of being a bit of a gossip. And the overemphasis that we can solve every problem with our minds. That we can override the system, the universe. No such thing as coincidence. That if we just think enough and reason enough, that it'll make sense. And not every thought is valid and not every feeling is valid. But when we live too much in one space, we can't make space for the other. And sometimes a feeling or a desire can no longer be overthought and overtalked and overanalyzed and picked apart to the point of mush. Sometimes it needs to be acted upon. It needs to be felt. And that's the only way we can satisfy that desire, that craving, that feeling, that knowing. And being aware of these shadow sides, things that I am always working with within myself, the need to know, the need to have the answer, the need to be right, the need to overthink, to see so far ahead that I'm 10 steps ahead of any mistake that can happen, right? That's a form of control, of the control that I'm still working on. But really, these energies in their highest form is there's no you against me, you versus me, you or me. It's only us together. No good or bad, no right or wrong, just the experiences and the lessons we can take along the way. And always being clear that I'm not saying things don't go wrong and you shouldn't have feelings about it, or that you immediately need to jump to everything happens for a reason. I hate that saying. I don't think I'll ever like it. Maybe because it's like a live, laugh, love bullshit one to me. Like it's hanging over my bathroom wall. It's not. But if I was a Stepford housewife, it would be. No tea, no shade to the Stepford housewives. You have your own aesthetic, but it's certainly not mine. But I can't stand the saying everything happens for a reason, because we've started to use it as a way to negate people's feelings. Do I believe that sentiment to be true? I think everything happens as it should. And it's one word of it's one word. But for some reason that gives me more solace, and it doesn't invalidate my feelings when I say it that way. Maybe it still invalidates yours. So picking something new, picking what works for you, picking that faith and that trust above all else, that the universe is conspiring in your favor. And Maybe even playing with the idea that the universe is not trying to test us or prove us wrong. There are road bumps and blocks and hardships and challenges and devastating moments along the way. And I don't have a reason for those. But maybe this Sag season, we stop trying to figure out, overthink, overanalyze, make math and sense of why shit goes wrong, and instead look for the things that are going right, even in the hardest moments. Feeling gratitude for, I have a roof over my head that I love. I have food in my fridge that is healthy and nutritious. I have the most incredible friends in the world who are always there to support me. It sounds so small, but the gratitude is unmatched. And when we can actually focus on what's going right, you might say, what's going in our favor, what's actually making us feel supported and safe and have faith in the universe instead of all the shit that is going left and wrong and sideways. And we need those moments, those rock bottoms. We'll never be free of those. But how do we create more space for trust? How do we create less stories about what we're worthy of and not worthy of? The choice we made that led us here that was wrong or right or otherwise. And seeing it more from a place of almost a little bit more objective. That any choice we made along the way, and there's lots of them. Another quote from The Alchemist is, the biggest lie is that at some point we lose control of our destiny or we lose the ability to choose and we're just controlled by fate, that we don't have a choice. And Sag and Gemini wants you to remember, all the mutable signs want you to remember that we always have a choice. We always have a choice. Sometimes that choice is picking ourselves up, powering through. Sometimes that choice is falling apart. I cried. It is November 26th. The month's not even over yet. I cried 21 days out of this month. A new personal best, truly. Like, it was my falling apart month, and I get frustrated with myself, and I get embarrassed for it. It's how my body processes, you know? And I keep going, and I keep trusting that what I'm trying to do right now, which I will be able to share hopefully in the new year, some of it, all of it, what I'm doing in my life right now is exactly what I've been working towards and where I'm meant to be. And it's not all going how I thought it would. And shit went so left in November that I was not prepared for. And I had to change plans and I had to change my feeling and I have to be in a space that I was not ready for. But I'm here. I'm showing up for this podcast because I love it. I'm still doing it because how it makes me feel and because it's supporting my vision for my life. And I just love talking about astrology. And I think with all the craziness of the holidays, whatever you do or don't celebrate, whatever you do and don't believe in, can you still find what's possible? That innate little, no matter how small, no matter how tiny, glimmer of hope of what is possible for you. And just when you think quickly, remembering that you don't. Because when you think the world may throw a curveball, it may humble you, which is just part of life. And I think a big lesson of Sag Gemini energy is to remember in its highest vibration that no matter how much good we do, no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we show up, shit is gonna go wrong. Things are gonna go left. Life is going to turn out so differently than we expected. And even in the grief or the feeling, discomfort, upset we have about it going wrong, can we still see the expansion and the abundance in the new choice, in the possibility, in what goes right, in what's possible? That eternal optimism, annoying, I annoy myself with it. My Capricorn gets pissed. My Capricorn moon, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, all in the 8th house of death, birth, transformation. I want to be, I want to be Hades himself. I want to be the god of the underworld. I want to be focused on all the shit going wrong. And right now, my life is proving to me, even in the stuff that goes wrong, that I did not want to end, that I did not want to give up. There is still a lot that I haven't even fully taken in how grateful I am for it, that I get to do this podcast, that I get to have a producer who makes this so easy and fun and good. Because if I was editing it, Lord help your ears. That I have friends who are supporting me so incredibly through such an expansive, challenging, mind-opening, rattling time, that I get to feel so deeply that I have a roof over my head that I love, that I have food in my fridge that is healthy and nutritious, that I get to teach people how to feel their feelings and scream and breathe and feel and be in their bodies. What? That is not the life I had visioned for myself. This is not the life I had visioned for myself. A microphone, yes. Always a microphone, always a platform. And a few years ago, when everything crumbled, I just started to open myself up to new possibility. And I'm still going to think I know things that I don't. And I still am going to want to know the answers. And I'm still going to overthink. And every time I do, being humbly reminded that no amount of overthinking, overanalyzing, being right, being dogmatic, being closed off will ever really get me to where I need to be. And maybe I am talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you. And I just love astrology so much. The fact that any of you, even one person, listens to this is a lot for me to take in the best way. I love birthdays. If you have a birthday this month, happy birthday. I love you. I love Sag energy. As a shout out to myself, my birthday is December 10th. December 10th. I was born on a Saturday, the party day. Okay? I love to party in all the ways. And I will give myself a minute for some self-indulgence and just to honor my dad as well. He loved to tell the story of when I was born. I was 2 weeks late, and my dad was still not legally a citizen. One of my favorite reminders in this era of the United States of America, my dad was undocumented. And I proudly say that. And he was still not a citizen when I was born. He didn't have a driver's license. I am about to be 37 and I don't have a driver's license. So we can fight about that too. If you're willing to teach me, please teach me. I need a teacher. But he didn't have a driver's license. My mom lent her car to my aunt for the day to go Christmas shopping. She laid down for a nap. She woke up in full labor. My grandparents live a few blocks away. My dad called my grandfather, Poppy, who has also passed. Pop, I need you to come pick up Maureen and I. The baby's coming. Okay, I'll be right there. My grandfather was a bus driver. He did not speed. He was on no one else's time but his own. Capricorn King. 10 minutes go by. 20 minutes go by. 30 minutes go by. My dad calls back. Hello? Pop, where the are you? Where the fuck? I've been cursing this whole episode. I'm going to stop now. Where the fuck are you? Oh, I had to take a shower. I'll be right there. Now, as my mother always says, Katie is not ready to do something until she's ready to do it. And then she expects everyone to be on board. My apologies, or you're welcome. I was almost born in the back of the car. She laid in the back of my grandfather's station wagon as they drove to the hospital. They dropped her off. They went to park the car. She said she was keeping my head in as she walked into the hospital. And my dad walked in. Now, I have an older brother. He has a different dad. We all are very much, my dad considered him his son. We all very much consider each other full siblings. We were all raised together. But this was my dad's first birth experience. My mom got into the hospital. They threw her into the emergency room, cut her clothes off. My dad walked in. He said, I'm going up to the maternity ward. Where is that? A doctor comes running down the hall screaming, is there a Frank Healy here? He's like, I'm Frank Healy. He's like, your wife's giving birth right now. He goes in. I was born in 5 minutes. Little baby with this curly, full head of dark red hair. My mom wanted to name me Kate. My dad said, I like Katie better. And here I am. So he loved that story. He would remind me of it often. He said I should make a short film about it. Maybe I will one day. And I accredit my chattiness, when I won't shut the hell up, my storytelling, to my astrology, yes, but also to my family and the system I was raised in. And yes, I believe in astrology, but I believe in nurture just as much as nature. I believe in free will more than any of that. And my family, I am so grateful for the stories they've instilled in me and that I get to share them here. If you're still listening, all these minutes in. And I'm moving into my 37th year with even more of this idea that I don't know. I know a little bit about a lot, and there's still so much to discover. And I am going to continuously remind myself, especially when it hurts, especially when I cry 22 days out of a 30-day month, that, and hey, there's still 4 more days, so that 22 could go up. And I'm sure I will, that I signed up to feel everything. And I think it is the greatest gift in life to feel, to be connected, to be a part of the village, to be a villager, to receive and to give. And I am just so grateful to you all for listening, for any amount you tune in, this episode or every episode. When I make sense, when I don't make sense, that's part of that Sag Gemini mad scientist thing. Whoever you are, wherever you're listening, I love you. I have so much love and gratitude in my heart for wherever you're at in your journey, for supporting me through mine, for supporting this podcast, for listening. And I am so grateful for another year. Thank you for listening. This is the best gift you could have given me. If you're looking to give me a gift, please share this episode or an episode of this podcast you love with someone. It doesn't have to be this one if it wasn't your favorite, but if there's an episode you love, the best gift you could give me this year is sharing this podcast. Sharing with someone you love, posting it on your Instagram story, giving me feedback on it of what you want to hear more of. When I posted that recently, someone said just more of me yapping. So in the new year, I will do a better job of that. As someone asked me to go off today on men, I'm there. I'm right there with you. Publicly defaming them doesn't feel like the right choice for me at this time in my life. So I'm just going to keep saying women deserve to run the world. Men, you know what you did. And I still am attracted to you anyway. So we'll work it out eventually. But I love you all. Please share this episode, with someone or someone's you love. Please let me know what you like, what you want more of. Thank you for listening. Thank you to my angel producer. We'll have one more episode before the year ends, but since this was a solo and it's my season, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you, to express my heart's truth. I'm still taking in all the gratitude, and this was the year of the snake. We have been in it. Next year is the year of the horse. Get ready to gallop, bitches. We out here. I love you. Thank you so much for listening. I cannot wait to breathe in and scream out with you again in the next episode.